I feel like it just gets more difficult like every day. Oh, no. I'm literally gonna cry. I'm literally gonna have a mental breakdown right now. Killing herself. So someone like predicted my death. I was supposed to die, but instead of dying, I posted a dance video. People weren't nice because they thought I was gonna die.
Hi, I have short hair now, but if you're new, you might not have known that I used to not have short hair, but let's move on. Charli and Dixie D'Amelio are amongst the most popular people on TikTok, and Charli D'Amelio was really the first one to gain massive mainstream fame from the platform that no one had ever seen before, surpassing over 124 million followers on TikTok, having extensive multi-million-dollar brand deals, her own clothing line with her sister at Hollister, appearing in Super Bowl commercials.
Okay, boomer.
Her and her sister Dixie have been ridiculed online for so long, with so many hate videos, and basically every top comment on Dixie D'Amelio's music videos on YouTube have only negative comments on them. And it really makes you wonder what kind of problems these girls have caused for the internet to ridicule them so much. And the truth is, they're not really that problematic, and with the release of their exclusive Hulu documentary, The D'Amelio Show, the online tides are finally starting to change for the D'Amelio girls into a more positive light. And today I was lucky enough to meet one of my favorite commentary YouTubers, Kunkin Dassner, I keep wanting to say Duncan, to really discuss and deep dive into this topic of how so many online creators are problematic, but the most ridiculed people on the internet for a long time were the D'Amelio girls. Quick disclaimer, we will be talking heavily about mental health in this video, as is a very strong topic throughout the D'Amelio show, so that's just a quick warning for you all. And now let's get into it.
They break up every single thing I do and make it like a negative thing.
My first exposure to this show was already people being like, no thanks.
That's the kind of gut reaction that people have developed for people like them. But for why? It's just a gut reaction at this point.
All of these older people who only know about her as like the face of TikTok probably don't see much value in like a documentary about her. They think it's like something for her fans, when in actuality I think the documentary is not only for the fans, but for older people and maybe even people like us who don't necessarily like have that insider information.
Their goal was obviously, one, to humanize them, make people understand they're just normal people, and that there is someone behind the screen. I know that sounds very like preschool teacher.
You have to actually like individually remember that for everybody you see online. I think about like tweeting in real life, just going up to Charli and being like, this girl just dances? What the heck? How is she famous? And like, that's no way to talk to someone.
And so it's like something we learn in elementary school where it's like, what's the saying?
Treat others the way you want to be treated.
That's the saying.
We all went to the same preschool.
And then simultaneously, we just completely forget that when someone has money. Now they're no longer deserving of your respect.
Well, it's such a divide, right? I think money does change people's like circumstances so much. Like Dixie has like 5 dogs and like they have a house, and Dixie has her own apartment at like 19. But that money divide does not mean that the two of us have to hate each other. Dixie is not like some horrible person for having an apartment.
No, if you had that money, wouldn't you buy an apartment too?
That's the whole point. I want the apartment, yeah.
Something that Charli said in the show about Dixie's music career, what a segue, is...
If you were given a chance to record in a music studio and have your own career and be able to sing music and put out songs that you love, you're gonna say no? That's good to know. You're gonna say no. Like, that's cute. Because no, you're not.
You're not gonna say no.
Yeah, I'm a terrible musician. I can't sing. But if Wiz Khalifa was like, hey, I'll be like on a song of yours, I would write it tomorrow. Like, that sounds incredible.
Exactly. So it's like, what do you want her to do? Nothing? But then if she does nothing, people are going to demonize her for doing nothing. No matter what she does, she's gonna get shit. Oh, which brings me to another thing. How people say that the hate is just part of the job.
People are like, well, she obviously can't make it in the music industry if she can't take this criticism. I'm like, y'all are the mean ones. It's not the music industry. I think my comment section is worse.
This happened as an accident, and now I have to just be okay with everyone saying anything.
Someone commented, can't f***ing stand her. She's just a spoiled little bitch who should hang herself.
And it's like, well, what do you expect? This is gonna come with the job. You think the internet's gonna be nice? And it's like, no, but can we teach people to be a little nicer?
Exactly. Right. I don't know if you did this, but when I started posting on YouTube, I had to have a little sit down with myself in the mirror and be like, not everyone's gonna love what you do. It's because that's just sort of this acceptance you have to have when sharing anything on the internet, right?
Yes, I also had to have that sit down where I was just like, not everyone's gonna like it. Not everyone's gonna think you're pretty. This is more of a girl thing, but well, people say you're bald.
Unfortunately, yeah. Right. People are like, hair reveal, bald reveal. And it's like, what are you talking about?
I'm not gonna lie, I did comment that on one of your videos where you talked about...
That's okay. You're allowed to do that. That's okay.
I was like, we all know you're bald, Duncan. You don't need to hide it from us.
As soon as I learn how to style my hair, I gotta prove that I'm not bald.
Oh, what a great segue, Duncan, because...
You're welcome. What was it?
In the D'Amelio show, they talk about that anything that they do want to do that's not TikTok dancing, they have to prove themselves tenfold.
And constantly having to prove yourself gets pretty draining, doesn't it?
This is a big step for Dixie to perform live. She knows she has a lot to prove to people who say negative things about her.
Definitely a lot of people want me to stick to just the TikTok stuff, and that's not what I want to do, so it's very frustrating. So it's like every time I step out to do something, I have to prove something, you know?
Let me give you an example. Charli posted a video of her doing interpretive dance to one of Billie Eilish's songs because she's practicing for competition and she just wanted to practice. And she got so much hate for it that she took it off the internet.
Everyone's just waiting for me to prove them wrong, but it's like, I don't want to prove them wrong. I just want to do dance because I like it, and it's frustrating.
This was around the time that there was a YouTuber or someone that was predicting a bunch of celebrities' deaths, and she was one of them. That she was gonna die in a car accident, but she posted that dance video, and people were upset that she wasn't dead.
Okay.
So that made her take it down.
That's too much.
It was too far.
For an 18-year-old?
She was 16, which is even worse.
Oh no. In any other context, to predict some girl's death and then be upset that it didn't happen.
Well, I'm not understanding it because there are so many other people in the public eye that are so problematic.
The internet's full of them. The internet is absolutely full of it.
So...
And they picked Charli D'Amelio.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, people don't deserve this amount of hate regardless. But the fact that they're choosing someone for no reason is what doesn't make sense. Is there a psychology behind that, do you think? There's got to be something.
Yeah. I mean, poor Charli. She's the face of TikTok, right? She's the most followed account, I believe. She was the first, I think, influencer to come from that scene. So this poor girl is suddenly the face of this entire movement. So when old people say they hate TikTok, they're probably thinking of people like Charli D'Amelio. Obviously, I understand being jealous, maybe even cynical of people who are more successful than you when you don't think maybe they deserve it. And I'm sure a lot of people see Charli hitting the renegade and they think that's not worth 30 million likes or whatever. To a fraction of a degree, I get it, right? If I did the renegade, I'm not pulling those numbers. I also don't despise this girl for it.
There's a line that you cross when you go from, oh man, I wish I could get $30 million for basically doing nothing. And I want her to die. Like,
there's so much distance between those two.
I definitely am still learning on how to use my platform to help others and draw attention to things that are important that I have the platform to do. I'm working, I'm learning, I'm 19 years old. I just feel I'm held to a very high standard.
Right now, they're just kids. They really are kids.
they are. And something I bolded in here was, how do you hold these teenagers to such a high standard of being a role model and to never say anything problematic or make any mistakes when they don't even know who they are yet? They are
That's a completely
16
fair question.
and 20.
Being a teenager is a weird place. You're figuring out how to truly be yourself, but when you are in a public light, you have to learn how to be yourself while also being this role model for a bunch of other people.
I think people see internet clout as kind of like this, right? It's this thing we're all striving for, because like anyone could post a picture on Instagram, and like the more likes they get, the better they feel about themselves. And like that's just the conditioning that social media is doing to us. These people were given like this huge platform, and I think a lot of people see that as them achieving this kind of like big goal that everyone has, which makes them unwillingly have now the responsibility of like 150 million followers.
No one has any room to grow.
Imagine 100 million people
You can't.
watching you at 16.
That's exactly what she said. That's actually in episode 7.
Most people don't start with their first job with 100 million people watching your every move. It's definitely a lot.
And that just like kind of nailed it in me, like, oh, she's 16. She's never had a job before.
My life is very busy. I basically work a full-time job, which is that part of social media that no one gets to see.
I mean, with all those sponsorships and like podcasts and like everything that people expect from a full-grown influencer is suddenly being like dropped on this child.
Yeah, like I am asking for people to watch my videos and share them. They did not ask for this at all.
Not at all.
They were just posting TikToks like a normal teenager would.
I think it was right place, right time.
They understand that they don't deserve it, which is so subjective in itself.
Exactly, because
Right.
does anyone deserve it?
Exactly.
Kind of
Right?
people just think they want it.
Charli and I think Lil Nas X, I think they were kind of blowing up around the same time, like when Old Town Road was going viral.
Right,
Charli was
yeah.
also kind of exponentially growing. She got so much more hate, even though she hasn't done anything wrong. I think psychologically because she hasn't brought anything of quote unquote value to society or brought anything of value on the
Right.
table. So people don't think she deserves it. But Lil Nas X, we stan him. Which I do, I love him. But
Well, yeah, that's fair. I wonder if Charli D'Amelio was 30 and this happened, if she was just doing TikToks at the beginning of TikTok and like the same growth rate happens. I wonder if, I mean, people would have to treat her differently, right? Because like a 16-year-old and a 30-year-old are completely different. Like society views them and the value they bring completely differently. Like I'm sure people will be like, why doesn't this 30-year-old woman have a job? Like, why is she just dancing on TikTok? I mean, their age just plays a huge part in like their whole story, right? Because all of a sudden you have this 16-year-old and her sister providing for their whole family.
I am responsible for all of the people around me.
Every person that works for my family puts pressure on me. And if I wanted to quit, well, now they don't have a job.
It's a lot to put on one person.
now all these people are jobless because of you. How much pressure
Because
is
you
that?
didn't renegade enough.
Because you didn't renegade on Jimmy Fallon enough. Wait, Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon?
One of them, maybe both.
One of the
Who
Jimmys.
Everyone just kind of wants me to just like sit there, look pretty, you know, but not like, you're not pretty enough, so like do this, but then like, that's too much makeup, like, but like you need a little bit, so like there's never any way to go where like you sit there and look pretty, but like you should have a talent, but not that one because it's not real talent. But like now like you're showing off. So it's like, there's no right place to be. You're always gonna be one side too far or one side too little, you know? Like, I just wanna be able to stay true to myself and just, end game is to be happy, you know? Like, that's really it.
Blowing up for no reason, quote unquote.
No reason,
No,
right?
exactly. Causes people to equate their value as a person to the type of content they provided to the world that got them famous, implying they have no value as a human being. We forget that they are real people who went to high school, had friends, relationships, made mistakes, have personalities, and have interests before fame. We like completely forget that once they become famous. They say they're talentless, have no personality.
Yeah, because like going viral is just this tiny little snapshot of someone being sent off to millions and millions of people. Like, obviously no one person can be defined by a dance or like a piece of content they make. Like, but because so many people only get to see that tiny little like clip of them, that's all they have to like base their entire personality on. Like, I'm guilty of it myself. I called like Charli the TikTok dance girl, and it's like, that is not her entire personality. She's a complex, fully dimensional human being. And like, it's just so easy to call her the TikTok dance girl because that's the parts of her that are shared the most.
And I love that because that just, does this segue? I don't know if this segues, but my next point was
Segue anyway.
we'll segue
If you
anyway.
say the word segue, then just like it works.
But I have had a lot of those moments, like, what's the point of like doing anything? Like, guilty for being alive, or I don't know. So I'm like, oh, I'll just do everyone a favor.
Everyone else can like show emotions or like talk about things and everyone like supports them, but anytime I talk about like literal shit I've been through, it doesn't matter, and it's like it just turns into a joke, and it's so not like, I know.
We preach mental health as a society, but then lack empathy for others' mental health because of the number in their bank account has passed a certain amount. Now Dixie's mental health is a personality trait, and people are making fun of her depression because someone has more privilege doesn't make them immune from mental health problems. But it does mean that
Especially
they have
children.
Right. But it does mean that they have more access to care for it, which I think you mentioned, making people feel that the rich are less deserving of empathy for mental health. And is that right?
Right. Obviously, they have more like opportunities to have it treated, but like, you know, going to a therapist doesn't like cure you. It doesn't reset the mental health bar. Like, you have people in lower class statuses who are like more mentally unhealthy than like rich people, vice versa. I think it's tricky because we do expect people with more resources to be able to access better care. But for any child who is developing and like going from like teenager to adolescence and all of the like brain fucketry that's happening up there, it's hard to be like, oh, she should be happy because she's rich. Money buys comfort, obviously, but like when it comes to like brains developing, I think that's a human experience to like struggle there.
Depression doesn't care if you're rich. Depression doesn't care if you're pretty. Depression doesn't care. It doesn't care who you are and how much money you have. Do you have access to the best therapists? Yeah. Is that gonna cure you? No.
Not a guarantee. Nobody is exempt from criticism. If you exist on the internet, there's going to be some things that are worth critiquing, hopefully constructive criticism, but I think we really have to remember like the shoes they're in, and like there's so much to consider, and I'm thankful for this documentary to, at least for me, opening my eyes more to the human element of their lives.
Duncan really wrapped it up nicely there, so I'm not gonna make this video any longer by reiterating his point. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you wanna see the uncut, like 40-ish minute conversation that Duncan and I had, there were so many good moments and so many good pieces of conversation that I wasn't able to include in this video. So if you wanna watch the uncut version of that, I just created a Patreon for you guys where I will be uploading that uncut video for you. So thank you so much for helping me get to this point where I can provide behind the scenes and bonus content on my Patreon, so check that out in the link below. And I really hope this video made you think a little bit more today about the online space and how we can make it a positive place. So until the next video, bye!